Today I'm gonna show you how to create a fluffy cloud, like in Ponyo on the cliff by the sea. This is from a fan art piece that I made, and a lot of people have asked me how I created the cloud. This method is actually the same one I used in my animatry tutorial that I shared earlier. It's pretty simple but very versatile. I even use this exact technique to build the mountain in this scene too. So I think this is a really handy method. Now let's talk about how we will approach this. First, I'll prepare a plan and use geometry node to make it always face the camera. Secondly, I'll model the shape of the cloud. Then I'll use that model to instance a bunch of smaller planes that we created earlier. And finally, I'll just create the shader for it. So I will try to demonstrate this from start to finish in real time. First, we will create the plane and make it always face the camera. I will delete the cube here. I will add a new plane. You want to scale it down. Ideally, you'll want to scale it as small as possible, right? But for easier editing, you should keep it manageable. And after scaling it down, you must apply transformation. There you go. Now the plane transformation has been applied, and this will prevent any error in the future. Now I will create the geometry node that will make the plane always face the camera. I will create a new geometry node. Click new. I will also open a new window, switch to geometry node. I will use this exact formula for my animatry tutorial. First, we will create a set position node. And then we will need a vector rotate node. And this is very important. Remember to switch the type to Euler. A lot of people forget to do this. We will also need a evaluate on domain node. And also remember to switch the first one to vector and the second one to face. Create a position node. Duplicate it. Plug into the evaluate on domain. We will need a object info node. We will expose the object, and what this do is it will copy the rotation of the object that we will choose later, which is the camera, and apply it to the plane. So we will plug the rotation onto the rotation of the vector rotate node. There you go. And we will also choose relative for this. And basically that's the geometry node we'll need. Now we will only have to go into the modifier and pick the camera as the object that we will copy the rotation from. As you can see, it's now face the camera here. We can go into the camera to look at it. To move this camera, enable camera to view, and I will move the camera around, and you will see it will always face the camera. There you go. That is the first step done. Now we will move on to the second step, and that is create the shape of the cloud. Before we do that, I will do some naming first. We will call this viewbar, and this we will call GN billboard. Alright, now we will create a cloud. I will start with a cube and apply a subdivision on it. Shade smooth it, and I will bump this up. Generally, the smoother the surface, the better it is, and I will apply it. Now I will make multiple duplication of this to make the cloud. Generally, you will want a cloud had a lot of variation in the shape, and the way cloud works is it will pop up at the top, and usually at the bottom it's quite flat, so you can follow that direction to make the cloud more believable. Alright, so now I will combine all of this by choosing all of it, and then I'll press Ctrl J. It is now one object, but we will need to remesh it because there are geometry inside, and we will need the model to be watertight, you know. So now we will go into sculpt mode. You press R to select the mesh size, and then press Ctrl R to apply it, and there you go. I think this is looking nice already. I would use this as a starting shape. So now we will create a particle system from this shape. Go back to object mode, and then I will go to the particle properties, add a new particle system. Let's also name this particle system billboard. We will select hair, and from this hair it will generate the planes that we made earlier. We will go to render, and in render as we will choose object. We will also set the scale to 1. We will also add a bit of scale randomness to it. And in the instant object, you will leave it empty. That's how this workflow will work. Also, we will check advance, check rotation, and we will want to remove all rotation. So we'll choose none. I will name this cloud emitter. I will also put it into a new collection called cloud. The billboard will also put inside the same collection. Now we will go back to the billboard piece, and we will add a new modifier called particle instant. And we will choose the object as the cloud emitter, and immediately you will see the planes being generated all over the place, right? And the reason it looks like this is because in the particle system setting, in emission, you will see that the hair length is 4 meters. If you scale down to 0, you will see that it will stay exactly on top of the shape, which is what we want. Now we will go into the camera and see that is now facing the wrong direction. And to fix that, we will go into the plane, go into modifier, and we will choose the axis as Y. And this will make the direction of the planes correctly. We will also choose size to use the size setting in the particle system. You can now hide the emitter. Next, as you can see, the cloud right now look really flat. We will want the cloud to copy the normal of the cloud emitter. And to do that, we will need a data transfer to copy the normal information. We will pick the emitter as the source. We will choose phase corner data and choose custom normal. And immediately you will see that it now has the shading of the cloud emitter, which is exactly what we want. We will go into the next issue, and that is now it is full of holes, right? And to cover this hole up, you can obviously increase the number of the particles, but it loses all the detail, right? So I'll undo that, and the way we will cover this up is to scale each of the plane up by adding a new geometry node. So I will add a geometry node here, and I will name this scale billboard. I'll click new, and in the geometry node editor, we will add a very simple setup. You just need to add a scale element and then expose the scale info, and that's it. Now you can increase the scale number, and that will scale each of the planes up until it covers all of the holes, and that's exactly what we want. If you want to reduce the plane amount, you can go into particle instance setting, and there is a field called amount, and you'll reduce it. We'll go into the next problem, and that is if you try to duplicate this, you will see that the normal information is messed up, and that is the cloud still trying to copy the normal from the emitter, and the emitter is staying at the old place, right? So to fix that, we need to do a few things. First, we will have to apply the transformation on the cloud emitter by pressing Ctrl A or transform. And now all the information has been corrected. You can now hide it. And in the billboard, you open the data transfer setting and then uncheck this little box right here called object transform. And now when you duplicate it, it still have the same normal information. Now we will create a shader for this. I will open a shader editor and create a new shader. We will call this billboard cloud. I will reuse the shader setting from my Animate3 tutorial. First, we will delete the principal BSDF. Then we will create a diffuse BSDF. Then a shader to RGB node. Next, we'll need a color ramp also. And now I will plug this into the output, and you will see that it has some sort of shading. We will adjust the light a little, and we will need this to be a sun, and the strength should be 1, right? And when you rotate this, you will see that it can control the shading of the cloud. So the lighting direction is very important. Generally, you will want a direction that have a balanced amount of light and shadow. That will create a nice look. Back into the shader, we will select the color for the cloud, and I will choose my color here. I also will be copying the color from the setting I have already made in my fan art piece. And if you want to access the exclusive content like the full Ponyo and Sasuke scene, it's all available on my Patreon. Just open the Blender file in Blender 4.4 and it should work immediately. no extra setup is required. This color setup is the exact same one I use in my fan art. And immediately you will see that the color in this color ramp, and when you compare to the viewport, you will see that the color is not the same. And the reason for that is in the render setting, open the color management, the view transform is set to AGX, which is by default. When you do a piece that generally follow a style of anime or stylized, you would want to set this to standard. And this will make the color you choose exactly as it is. Next, we will solve the next issue, and that is there is shadow here. That is the real-time shadow. And generally, we don't want real-time shadow, especially if it is cartoon anime style. In the old Blender version, you can just turn it off by unchecking a box in here. But after the Blender version of 4.2, it is a bit complicated than that to turn off the shadow per material, right? First, you will need a light path node here, and then you will need a mix shader node. Plug it in here, and in the light path node, you will notice that there is an option called E shadow ray, right? And you would want to plug this in the vector. You will also need a transparent BSDF, and then plug it into the other slot. Immediately you will see that the shadow from each plane has now disappeared. This is what we want. Now we will go into the next issue, and that is we need to have an alpha for each of the plane here. And I have already created an alpha map. As you can see here, you can drag the texture inside your shader. To apply the alpha map, we will need a mix shader node. Also change this to ease to make it look a bit better. We will plug this inside this slot and the alpha map into the vector. We will also need a transparent BSDF, and then we'll plug this mix shader into here, and you can see that it already looks nice. And you can see there is black artifact here, and that is coming from the alpha map. And I actually don't know why it is like this, but the way we will fix this, it will add a clamp node into this. We don't want any absolute black value in the alpha map. We will add a bit of information into the minimum value here. So I will put in 0.0001, and that will fix the issue. And you can see here now it works nicely. I also have a cloud sphere here, and I will go into the camera and I will enable camera to view, and now you can see that all the planes now rotate whenever you move the camera. If you want your cloud to be even fluffier, you can introduce more translucency into your alpha texture. The simplest way to do that right now is to reduce the max value in your clamp node. So I will drag it down, and you can see here that it is now fluffier. And that is it. Now you can try making other cloud style. Just change the emitter shape or alpha texture to create completely different looks. Now it's your turn. I want to see your own creations using this technique. Experiment with different colors, shapes, and layouts. Don't be afraid to put your personal touch on it. Until next time, keep creating and have fun with your art.